In this video, I'm going to be replacing a burnt out incandescent bulb inside my traction control switch with a red LED. These are the LEDs here. They are red in color, and it'll be perfect because not only will it make this brighter, it'll last longer, and I won't have to buy a new switch, because normally when these things burn out, you have to buy a new switch. So I'm going to go ahead and open this thing up. Shouldn't be too difficult. It's pretty basic. There's a hood basically where the button sits. There's a hood right here, and it should just snap right off. Yeah, so it came right off. And as you can see, there's the bulb right there. And it looks like there's little indentations here in the side that you can see where the rest of the housing comes off. So I'm going to go ahead. Actually, it looks like I'm going to need to get these tabs out, which will release this button here. So it should be pretty easy to just stick a flat blade screwdriver inside here. That should, if I get it right, should pop right out. Oops. There we go. Alright, so we've released it. It's popped out. This is what looks like to be the actuator. This is what makes contact with the plunger down there that actually pushes the button itself. And there's the bulb. You see it better there. Now we need to get these tabs here on the side so we can release the bottom portion. Shouldn't be too bad to get here. Trying to get my screwdriver underneath here. I have to do it like this. Just take your time when you're doing something like this. You don't want to break the tabs or anything, because then the whole thing is not gonna fit together. Okay, so I've released two of them. There we go. Alright, so this part's off now, and now you can really see that bulb. You can see how they put it on here, and there's an orange sleeve over it. Here's the actual contact plunger that makes contact with these 2 points here, which all it does is complete a circuit, and that sends a signal to the, I'm assuming, the ECM to turn off the traction control. That's all it does. It's pretty simple. Surprisingly, this thing here is almost 30 bucks, and I don't understand that, because the HUD, this thing right here, as complicated as it is, it's only 20 bucks. So I'm not figuring that out, but you know, whatever. I don't set the prices. So what it looks like here is they've got a couple of solder points right there that I will need to remove. I think I can do it without cutting those wires. So I'll just remove these two solder points here. If I have to cut it, I have to cut it. There's nothing I can do about it. But you can see here that they put these sleeves in order to get the right color. This is an incandescent bulb. They put these sleeves on here in order to get the color that they want. And I still can't figure out why modern car companies don't use LEDs in everything, because they're brighter, they last a lot longer, they don't generate as much heat, they don't require as much electricity, you know, whatever. But anyway, so this little itty bitty incandescent bulb is going to be coming off, and it looks like, yeah, there's a couple of really small solder points on here. In fact, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get those off, because it looks like they almost crimped it. But if you'll notice here, what's interesting is that there's another side here for what appears to be an identical circuit. I don't know what's positive and what's negative yet, but it looks like they were planning on making this a universal kind of, you can flip it any way you want. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to find out if I apply voltage to these 2 points, if it actually lights up a bulb. I'm not really sure what other reason that would be there. It's kind of unusual. Fortunately, I can easily get to the 2 points in here. I can easily get to them, so yeah. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this bulb off here and get started. Okay, unfortunately I was not able to unsolder these 2 points. It looks like they've crimped it slightly, and I had the solder gun on it for a little while. Was actually starting to heat up the plastic underneath there, and I wasn't able to get the bulb off, so I had to break it off, which is fine, you know, it doesn't really matter. I was just hoping to be able to save some of that solder. But this is the bulb. This is burnt out, obviously, and really tiny bulb. I'm going to be replacing it with that LED right there. So what I need to do is I need to find out what is positive and what is negative on here. To do that, I have the wiring harness right here. This is the wire harness. I've got my HUD hooked up here because I just got done with the replacing of the LED and the HUD switch. If you're interested, I'll put a link in the video to that. This has a red LED in there, same one as that. But this is the actual traction control switch. Even though there's 4 pins, there's 4 pins on the back side of this, yet only 3 are used. It's kind of weird, actually. I don't know. So let's find out here. Alright, so the brown wire here with the white stripe is the signal that goes to the ECM. The gray wire here is illumination positive, black is illumination negative. It's pretty common with General Motors with their wiring harnesses. So the positive illumination is going to be right here, and the negative is going to be here. So if I take this and line it up, then I can see that this pin right here is positive and this pin here is negative. So if I trace that, basically I see this point right there is positive. So this portion right here, this is positive, and then this would be negative right here. Now, to make sure that I've got that right, to actually test it, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to take my LED. This is a 620 ohm resistor. It is required for these LEDs. These LEDs were not designed to hit 12 volts. They just weren't. So you need a way to downstep that voltage to prevent these from burning out. If you were to take, for instance, a 9-volt battery and touch these 2 points together, it would almost instantaneously burn out this LED. They just were not designed to handle that much current. So let's see here. What I'm going to do is the LED positive is always the well, usually, not always, but it's usually the longest leg, and the LED negative is here. If you've got these connected and it doesn't light up, then just flip it around because the polarity might be reversed. It's not going to damage it if it's a negative polarity. But all I'm going to do, this is just my junker resistor here. This is what I use for testing. Now I got a whole bag of these things here. So this is just the one that I use for my testing to make sure that I've got the circuit right and so on. So I'm just going to basically just wrap this around. I'm not going to solder it permanently or anything. And bring the leg out a little bit. So we've got a good connection there. Make sure you don't cross these two when they are seeing voltage. That's always a good thing. Now in order to get some voltage across these 2 points, what I'm going to do is I've got my voltmeter here. I'm just going to set it for directional current, so it's going to throw some voltage into the circuit, usually around 9 volts is all it's going to do. And okay, so I've got the 2 points connected here, And basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to run these 2 points across with this LED, knowing that this end here is positive. The resistor always goes on the positive side because that's the direction the current flows. So you want to make sure that the current that hits this LED is reduced by the resistor, which is always on the positive side. So this right prong here is positive and the left one is negative. So basically all I have to do here is bring these two together. If this LED lights up, then I know I've got the polarity right. I had to rearrange this a little bit because the positive kept falling out when I was trying to do this test. But anyway, now positive, negative on the back here. If I touch these two together here, the positive, negative, that should light up this LED. It's lighting up. I know it's hard to see. There you go. So anyway, now I've confirmed the polarity, so I can start soldering in the new parts and be able to go from there. So I have to be able to fit this resistor and this LED inside of here without any interference, without interfering with the actual plunger mechanism here. So here's the plunger right here. So this is going to sit on top here, and I need to make sure that that button right there is not hindered in any way. So it's going to be a little difficult, but I think I can do it. So if you look at this from the underside, you can see here this is where the bulb goes, and this other side over here is blocked. So this is actually going to work out perfect because I will be able to utilize, basically I'm going to put the resistor right under there, and I'll just run the wire around to the bulb. So what I'm going to have to do here is the wire here, I'm going to have to start off with the resistor on the positive end, run it up to the back side here. The resistor is going to sit underneath this pocket right here, then run that wire around to the negative side, and I should be able to get it. Okay, as you can see here, almost finished here. I just need to take this end, wrap it around and solder it to here, and I should be good. You can see how I did this, and it does not interfere with the operation of the switch. I'm going to end up bringing this down slightly, so it's going to depress, but it doesn't interfere with the switch at all. Alright, as you can see here, I've modified this piece here which actuates the plunger. What I did is I used a box cutter or a blade, and I just trimmed this, and the reason that I had to do that is because of the solder being slightly wider, and I didn't want this to rub up against the solder, because the soldering point, you can see right here how I'm running it around. This is, let's see, it's going to be this way. This will ensure that when everything's together, as you can see there's plenty of room in between there, and I still have to mess with it just a little bit, but you can see how I'm running it in between those two points right here, in between here. So I'm almost done here. Alright, we have completed the entire thing. We're all done here, and as you can see, the plunger, the actual actuator that actuates the plunger, actually fits real nicely. As you can see here, it does not in any way interfere with the operation of the button. And when the button is actually not being pressed, you can see here it's higher, so it's not as if it's touching the resistor, as you can see. So this turned out really well, and all I need to do is double check this, which one it is. Yep. So can see there it's only getting about, I don't know, maybe 9 volts at most, but it lights up just fine. So at least the bulb is operational, and I'm going to have to check to make sure that the button itself works, but that's going to have to happen a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing put back together. It's actually pretty easy to put back together. This is the bottom portion, and just slides right over. Okay, everything's back in line here, and now, okay, you can see I've got the button back together. No interference whatsoever. This top portion here, it feels like it's not going to snap back in, but it will. You just have to line up this little notch here, line that up with this notch here, and it should snap back into place. Now, of course, it's going to fall right off, but you have to actually snap it back in place, just like that. Okay? Perfect. Now all we have to do is get it in the car, make sure that it works, make sure it lights up, and then we're all set, and we will have completed the conversion. Okay, the traction control switch is in. As you can see here, this is a daytime shot, and try to get in there. There we go. That's a daytime shot, and as you can see here, it's really bright, and I noticed it right away as soon as I plugged it in. It's really bright. Fortunately, if you can hear that, it works. Traction control on, traction control off. So hold it down for, I think, what is it, 8 seconds? I'll hold it down for 8 seconds here, and then it'll disable the stability control. Yep, stability control off. So, yeah, that turned out right. We're gonna get a video of night shot, but you can see here it's much brighter. So it turned out pretty well. And there's a nice shot of the traction control button, and as you can see, it's really bright. It is a nice deep red color. It's not orange, it's just a deep red color. I really like it. It's really bright, and I'm really happy with the results. So it's not blinding at all. You don't really see it until you get right on top of it, but anyway, you know, that's it for the traction control LED replacement. If you have any questions, just let me know. Just be aware that anytime you're working on any kind of electronics like this, you know, there's always a chance to short something out, damage the electronics, possibly even start a fire if you don't know what you're doing. So be aware of that. If you don't know what you're doing, have somebody help you. And you know, I basically don't want to be responsible for your screw-ups. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'd be more than happy to answer them. So hopefully you enjoyed this pretty long but detailed look at replacing your incandescent bulb with an LED in your traction control switch. Take care, guys.